Bright spotlights highlight the room. The cameras are already positioned, the microphones are ready to record every word, and the production team is busy making sure there are not the slightest technical errors. In the middle of that atmosphere sat two young figures who are currently in the spotlight of the entertainment world, Zhang Linghe and Zhao Jinmai. That day, they were scheduled to attend a special interview in the framework of the promotion of their latest drama. For many, this is just a regular session to introduce the work, answer media questions, and give a little leak to make the audience even more curious. However, for loyal fans, moments like this are always considered another stage to see the real interaction between the two stars. Zhao Jinmai looks elegant in a simple pastel-colored dress. Her innocent face, clear gaze, as if reflecting the light of the room. Beside him, Zhang Linghe sat with a well-built body, wearing a white shirt and a black suit. Despite its simplicity, its aura of charisma is difficult to ignore. As soon as the camera starts recording, their smiles automatically appear. However, anyone who pays close attention will notice that something was different that day. Not just a professional smile. There is a more intense chemistry, a kind of unspoken language of the heart, but it can be felt by anyone who stares at the screen. The interviewer opened the session with a light question. How does it feel to work together again after so long? Zhao Jinmai smiled, her hands squeezing the hem of her dress nervously. It feels good. We already knew each other, so on the set things were much easier. Zhang Linghe chimed in with a calm, yet meaningful voice. Jinmai always has a way to make the shooting atmosphere warm. She works hard, but also knows how to make others feel comfortable. That simple sentence, which could actually be considered an ordinary answer, actually left an emotional imprint. Linghe's gaze did not escape Jinmai's as he said it. And Jinmai, instead of staring at the interviewer, lowered his face with a shy smile. The camera caught everything. Viewers who later watch this footage may comment. Why does it feel like they are no longer interviewing, but are sending each other secret messages through gazes? The interviewer, who was sensitive to the atmosphere, smiled slightly and then teased. You seem to be very familiar. Are there any of the most memorable behind-the-scenes moments? Zhao Jinmai was silent for a moment, glancing at Linghe, as if asking for his blessing to answer. Then he said quietly, "There was one moment when I felt very tired on set." Linghe was the first to notice. He didn't say much, but suddenly offered me a bottle of water and said, "You have to take care of your health." Jimmy's eyes lit up when he said that. While Linghe only smiled faintly, it clearly showed restraint not to show more emotion. "Is that so, Linghe?" asked the interviewer. Linghe nodded briefly. "It's a small thing. I think it's natural to pay attention to each other." However, again, the public caught something different. The way Linghe looked at Jinmai as he said that. Full of sincerity, full of warmth, as if he wanted to say more but chose to hold back. The atmosphere of the interview was slowly changing. It is no longer just a formality between the media and the artist. There is an aura of invisible romance that penetrates into the room. And that's where it all started, an indirect statement born not of strong words, but of chemistry too real to ignore. After the initial chat feels warm, the interviewer begins to go into more in-depth questions. The camera is constantly recording, every second is clearly recorded, including small expressions that are often more truthful than words. "To be honest," the interviewer said with a meaningful smile, "your chemistry in this drama is very strong. Many viewers say that it is even difficult to distinguish whether you are acting or actually expressing personal feelings. What do you think?" The question made the atmosphere instantly change. Zhao Jinmai lowered his head, his fingers playing the tips of the hair, obviously looking for safe words. Zhang Linghe actually looked a little more relaxed, although his eyes couldn't escape Jinmai. "That chemistry," Linghe replied softly, "is not something that can be forced. If it looks real, maybe it's because we understand each other enough. Every scene flows naturally." His sentence was diplomatic, but his gaze that penetrated Jinmai seemed to give it additional meaning. "Because I really understand you, more than anyone else knows." Jinmai lifted his face briefly, looked back, then hurriedly smiled at the camera. Yes, it is. All feels natural. Sometimes I don't need to discuss with Linghe much, but somehow, we were able to merge into the scene right away. The interviewer raised an eyebrow, smiling mischievously. It's like a secret communication, isn't it? Jinmai chuckled, his face slightly reddened. Maybe so. The public who will later watch this interview will certainly stop at that moment, replay it, and comment. Their eyes can't lie. This is not just a promotion of drama, this is like a covert confession. Natural chemistry. It's called falling in love. Linghe himself, although still maintaining professionalism, clearly found it difficult to hide his expression. Every now and then, the corners of his lips rose when Jinmai spoke. There was a sense of pride, as if he was watching someone who was so precious to him. Flashback moments on set. The question led them both to recall the small events behind the scenes. The interviewer slipped the question. Then, may I share one of the funniest or sweetest moments during the shoot? Jinmai thought for a while. Then his eyes lit up. There was one scene that we had to repeat many times because I kept laughing, though the director is already a little upset. But Linghe, instead of getting angry, laughed along. I felt it was a very light moment, like we were just ourselves, not just actors. Linghe smiled at the story, then added, Yes, I remember. Jinmai laughed until his eyes glazed over. I think the scene is too beautiful to repeat only once. Everyone in the room seemed to be silent for a moment. There was a strange silence, as if Linghe's words had just revealed something. The interviewer can only chuckle a little to break the atmosphere. The reaction of fans in the virtual world. A few hours after the interview aired, the virtual world was immediately excited. Short snippets circulated on social media. Fans made a special video cut of Linghe's gaze section towards Jinmai. Comments popping up. Oh my god, that look is more romantic than the scene in the drama. If this is still called acting, I give up. They're really real. Why does Jinmai look so embarrassed? There's something behind the scenes, right? The hashtag Linghe Jinmai chemistry was trending within hours. Fans began to speculate. Is this just a clever promotion, or do they really want to code the public? What is clear, from that day on, the public no longer only talked about their drama. Rather, it talks about the mystery of the relationship that was indirectly announced through that simple interview. And this is where the wave of speculation is getting bigger, something they can no longer control with just a diplomatic smile. The interview is finally over. The cameras stopped rolling, the studio lights were turned off one by one, and the crew was busy tidying up the fixtures. But the atmosphere between Zhang Linghe and Zhao Jinmai was just beginning. Jinmai took a deep breath, relieved that the interview went without major mistakes. But his heart was still beating fast because of the few moments of Linghe's gaze that were so deep. He sat down, holding the note that had just been placed on his lap. Why do you look so tense? Linghe's voice suddenly sounded, low but full of seductive tones. Jinmai looked up, looking at him a little awkwardly. Me? No, really. I'm afraid I said the wrong thing. Linghe grinned, sitting closer. But your gaze just now is clearer than words, Jinmai. Jinmai's face immediately turned red. He looked away, pretending to be busy with his phone. But Linghe didn't stop. He leaned over, lowering the tone of his voice to almost a whisper. You do realize that every time you smile, I have a hard time keeping an expression? Jinmai's heart trembled. He wanted to respond, but the words stuck in his throat. To him, Linghe was too brave. But a small part of him also felt happy. The camera is off, but the chemistry isn't. It's getting real. The next day, footage of the interview went viral. Fans create GIFs, snippet videos, even memes from the expressions of the two of them. The largest fanbase account writes, Zhang Linghe's gaze to Zhao Jinmai. If this isn't love, then what is? The hashtag Linghe Jinmai was trending on Weibo. Even the entertainment media is silent. Articles with bombastic titles. Real chemistry. Zhang Linghe and Zhao Jinmai allegedly have a special relationship. Not just acting, Linghe's gaze for Jinmai made fans excited. Jinmai, who initially only wanted to maintain professionalism, began to feel uneasy. The manager's phone didn't stop ringing. "Mai, you have to be careful. Don't let the public comment hurt your career. Remember, you are young, many projects are waiting," the manager said firmly. Meanwhile, Linghe relaxed. He read the comments of the fans with a small smile. Occasionally he sends pieces of news to Jinmai via chat with a short note. "They seem to know better than we do." The message made Jinmai even more confused. Was Linghe really serious? Or was it just a joke? A few days later, they again filmed romantic scenes. This time, the scene requires a close hug after their characters go through a major conflict. The director only gave a brief direction. Hug as if you don't want to part anymore. And when the camera starts recording, something happens. Linghe's embrace felt real, not just a farce. His hands pressed against Jinmai's back, as if he was really afraid of losing her. Jin felt it too. His body was warm, his chest was shaking, and he almost forgot that this was just acting. His eyes were literally teary, not because of the role, but because of the overflowing feelings. As the director shouted, "Cut!" the entire crew was silent for a few seconds. They could feel a strange energy in the air, something bigger than just acting. One of the crew whispered to the other, "If they say there's nothing, I don't believe it." Behind the scenes, Jinmai began to worry. He knows the public is paying attention. He knew his management wouldn't be happy if the rumors progressed too far. But every time he tried to keep his distance, Linghe always found a way to get closer again. "Mai," Linghe said one night after filming finished. "Why do you always look nervous whenever we get too close in front of the camera?" Jinmai is down. "Because I'm scared, Linghe. Fear of misunderstanding people. I also misunderstood." Linghe looked at him fixedly. "If this feeling is real, why be afraid?" Jinmai was silent. Those words pierced his heart. Instead of declining, the support of fans is getting heavier. Many wish they were really together. Positive comments flooded in. "If they are really dating, I am willing to support them forever. This kind of chemistry is rare. Please don't separate." There are also fan art, fanfiction, and even video editing of their wedding. Jinmai looked at him silently, smiling slightly even though he didn't dare confess. Linghe, on the other hand, often sent those links to Jinmai with a simple emoticon. In another interview, a reporter was bolder. "Linghe, Jinmai. Many fans say your chemistry is like a real couple. Are you too? Maybe, in a relationship?" Jinmai immediately panicked. He quickly smiled nervously. "We're just good co-workers," he replied quickly. However, Linghe only smiled mysteriously. Sometimes the chemistry is inexplicable. Let the audience judge for themselves. That answer made the studio boisterous. Jinmai turned to her with a look of protest, but Linghe only responded with a soothing smile. The last day of filming became an unforgettable moment. After the final scene was completed, the crew gave their congratulations. Everyone cheers, celebrates success. But in the corner of the location, Linghe approached Jinmai with a bottle of drink. He handed it over with a smile. "Thank you for being such an amazing couple, on screen and off screen." Jinmai blushed. "Don't joke around, Linghe." But Linghe looked at him seriously this time. "I'm not kidding. You know, that interview, that look, it was all real. I can no longer hide." Jinmai fell silent, his heart beating fast. It's not just the acting. It's not just the chemistry. Linghe just gave a confession, though not with the words, "I love you." And he replied with a short but meaningful sentence. "I feel it too." They never officially announced the relationship. No public statements, no clarifications. But the world already knows. Every look, every smile, Every chemistry flowing across the glass screen is a veiled recognition. Fans remain loyal supporters. The media continues to speculate. But to Linghe and Jinmai, they didn't need words. Because their love has spoken through chemistry that is more honest than any formal recognition.